listen to that great intro music here. Welcome. Primetime Sunday night. John Jacobson here on KOFO with engineer Sean Torres in studio on our lead-up program, the Jacobson Report, here with Coach Patrick J. Knapp Jr. And welcome to everybody listening on this beautiful autumnal pre-Thanksgiving Sunday evening here on 1220 103.7 FM and streaming live on KOFO.com. Grab this podcast afterwards, KOFO.com. Click podcasts at the Jacobson Report. Guys, we've got special guest, Coach Hunter Bondurant of the winning Ottawa Braves women's hoops team here in studio. Want to give a shout out to all those listening in tonight. Sponsored tonight by Midwest Renewable Energy, LLC, Jim and Cindy Jandrin, Energy for Strong America. Ethanol is lean, is clean, and it's green from southeastern Kansas. Midwest Renewable Energy, LLC, and Jim and Cindy Jandrin sponsoring Life Runners, liferunners.org. Get on that website. Get your t-shirt like the lovely and gracious Deborah Jacobson to run and walk for life, building a culture of life, helping expectant mothers and their babies both before and after work. Well, let's give a proper introduction here to our legendary Coach Knapp, because we're entering the wide world of Knapp here.
John, I've lost you.
And here we go, guys. You just heard Jim McKay introducing our great Patrick J. Knapp Jr. Pat, you're on a little teaser here. You've got a great podcast going with Jerry Busson. Tell our listeners about it, because we also link directly to your podcast, as you are big man on campus right now at New Mexico State University, Big Shot Development Director, doing broadcasts for ESPN, and of course, the legendary Georgetown Hoyas women's coach, who had the first nationally televised women's basketball game with your arch foe nemesis and buddy Gino Auriemma as a young UConn coach, while Jenny Neal was guarding Rebecca Lobo. Coach, how do we find your podcast?
Thank you, John. Play-by-play with my partner, Jerry Busson. Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, anywhere you get your podcast. We just did a college and NFL pick show from a bar in Pawleys Island, South Carolina. Brought on some of the locals to make picks. It's very entertaining. We'll continue to do some of that. We have a lot of basketball coming up, and we hope you'll join us.
When's your next ESPN game, Coach?
Well, we don't. New Mexico State, unfortunately, our women don't play at home for another 26 days.
Wow, so you get a bit of a break from broadcasting.
Yeah, they're on the road quite a bit. I believe December 14th is our next New Mexico State women's broadcast on ESPN+.
Well, we're going to go and pull you up there, Coach. Well, Coach, I'm honored. We've got this hot young coach here at Ottawa U. He's got the most exciting team I've seen in a while. They're 5-1, 2-1 in the vaunted KCAC conference. And I want you two guys just have a dialogue, because we've got the great Georgetown legend Pat Knapp, who had his own Sweet 16 and great Big East runs, and Coach Bondurant on the rise. Let's have a conversation. First of all, Coach Bondurant, before I turn the interview over to Coach Knapp, congrats again yesterday. It is a thrill to watch you guys take the court. You guys remind me of a Ralph Miller coached Iowa Hawkeye team in 1970 that scored over 100 points a game with no three-point line and did full court presses. What Ralph didn't have, though, was 3 platoons. He played with what was called the Miller six-pack. You have such depth. Great win yesterday. You got to be smiling, Coach Bondurant.
Oh, we're excited, and a term that we use in our program is we're definitely juiced up about the success we've had to start the season so far. So, and shout out to you for having me on here today. Like I've told you multiple times, we have lost one game this season, but we haven't lost a game when you're in the building. So we appreciate your support and being there. But, yeah, we've got a great group. It's year 3 for us here as a staff, and Great start so far. We're averaging a lot of points, like you said, but we do that with the three-point line. I can't imagine averaging 100-plus without the three-point line, because the three ball is definitely a big part of our strategy and game. But, yeah, we're pressing. We play a lot of bodies. We have a lot of young, fresh legs, new faces in Ottawa jerseys this year, but they're doing a good job of representing our school and our program and what we expect of them daily.
You're a tremendous recruiter as well. Coach Knapp, take over this interview. I want to hear two old and young basketball coaches commiserating here over coffee long distance.
No worries. Hunter, pleasure to meet you. And as for John being undefeated with your team in the building, he prowls the sidelines or from the scorer's table. He gets in the referee's ears. You know that, right?
I've seen that. And the second the buzzer goes off, he's on the court looking to talk to people about what he just witnessed. So he's everywhere. He's in every inch of that building, and we love it.
Well, Hunter, let's give our listeners a little bit of your bio. It's pretty extensive. You've done a lot of great camps. You worked with Auburn's men's basketball 2010 to 2012. How did you get to Ottawa, and what brought you to the women's side? Why don't you give us a brief bio there?
Yeah, no, definitely. So I'm from Florida, so being in Ottawa, being in the Midwest is definitely different. I keep a pair of snow boots that my grandmother got me for Christmas when I moved up here, because the snow and the weather and all that's definitely a different world for me. But most of my career I've been in the South. I ended up at Auburn out of high school. I was a manager for the men's basketball team there under Tony Barbie, who was the coach there before Bruce Pearl. And, at that level, you get to see and do a lot of different things. I'm fortunate to say I've been in every SEC arena, and, travel at that level is a little differently than we do in the KCAC. So you get to see the best coaches, the best players, and just kind of a dream, After school, I had no intentions of coaching. I, kind of got a normal 9-to-5 job to kind of scratch my itch of basketball. I coached rec league basketball on the side. I coached summer AAU, and really it was just a hobby at the time. And then, I kind of got into my mid-20s, and the hobby became really a love of mine. My old high school coach talked me into coming down and running his preseason tryouts. And at the time, he had retired from the men's side and moved to the women's side. So that was kind of my first exposure to women's basketball. And I think looking back now, he knew that he was going to con me into helping him out, because running tryouts went to, hey, will you go scout this team for me? And then it went from, will you scout this team? Well, now will you give the scouting report to the team? Then it was, hey, I'm going to be late to practice today. Can you run the first 30 minutes of practice? And it just kind of trickled from there. I turned that into a full-time job there, ended up getting the women's head coach job there after he officially retired. And then, I kind of made the jump from there to Ottawa. Wanted to get into college athletics. You take any job you can get. That, Coach Knapp. And went from Florida to the Midwest in the middle of COVID. I had never been to Kansas. I thought Ottawa was in Canada. And, it's been 5 years, believe it or not, and here I am. So left the women's side there. Came here for 2 years on the men's side just because that's the job that was available. Turned that into being on the women's assistant here for 1 year, and we had a really great job, really great mentor under Tarnisha Scott, and she kind of parlayed that into a different job back home where she's from in Texas, and now in year 3 as the head coach. But I've got some background at IMG Academy. I did a prep year there. Those guys are my mentors, my best friends. I go there 2 or 3 times a year. They text me daily. They know my roster better than I do. And then, some sprinkles along the way with places like Point Guard College and Jay Billis and different things like that. So very lucky to have been exposed and got to see a lot. And as a young coach, still figuring out what I like. So I'm very fortunate to have a lot of knowledge and now figuring out what we like and implement it with our program.
Well, let me just stick to the bio briefly. Brian Stanchak of the BDS agency is a very good friend of mine. He worked for me at Penn for a couple of years, and then I got him a job up at Seton Hall. And then, of course, when he got out of coaching, he wanted to stay in basketball. And he created his coaching agency where he helps negotiate jobs mostly on the women's side. So the next time you see Brian, tell him hello, tell him that we had this conversation. The second thing is, let's set the stage for our listeners what we're going to talk about with this brand of basketball, multiple substitutions, the three-point line. I go way back to the Paul Westhead days. He ran the system and try to get up as many threes as possible, play as fast as possible. In fact, I was at a game at the Philadelphia Palestra where Westhead induced the other team, and I think it was Penn, into shooting the ball quicker by not sending all his defenders down the other end of the floor. That's right. He would send, at one point it was 4, and at one point it was 3, making them shoot the ball quicker. Where they made it or not didn't matter. He wanted to up the pace, and he would outscore them 3 points to 2 points. Now we come into this decade with Nate Oates at Alabama, who tells his team, and he's got it all mathematically plotted out, he tells his team we're shooting threes or we're going to the rim. Nothing in between is allowed. Nothing. He'll even pull guys out who will shoot mid-range shots. It's a waste of time. And his number game, his mathematical game, is very influential on the game of basketball today. So you play 13 players over double-digit minutes. I'm surprised you haven't taken more threes. You shoot 30% from 3, 59 for 194. Now, these are the stats. I hope they're updated with yesterday's victory. If not, I'm sure they're close. Why don't you tell our fans where you got the idea to play the way you're playing and describe it differently than me. Describe it the way you do it.
Yeah, no, well, I think the big thing is, first of all, our pace. I'm a numbers guy, and like you said, the numbers are out there that threes are worth more than 2, right? Now, you've got to be able to shoot it well. Our first 2 years, we've shot it very well. We haven't shot it as well as we would like to at this time of the year. Our best 2 shooters actually right now are shooting pretty low percentages, and so we're to be at 30%, and our best 2 shooters, can't hit the side of a barn right now. I think we're in a good spot. But our big thing from day one has always been pace, and I think a lot of that is indicative of that's just kind of like who I am. I'm a high energy guy. I work a lot of hours, and I just want our girls to run fast and play fast. And like you said with Nate Oates, what we stress is wide open catch and shoot threes or dunks. And we say the word dunks on women's basketball side because one of our core values is positive belief. And, if a girl lays it up, I yell at her like, hey, dunk it next time. And so that's on the scouting report. We got to get X amount of dunks a game. We don't allow any dunks a game. And then, anytime we can get a catch and shoot 3, we want it. We look at clips every day. We'll do this tomorrow at 4 o'clock of in transition, like why did we turn down this wide open catch and shoot 3 in the first 3 seconds? Because why would we want to play another 25 seconds of kicking the ball around just trying to hunt a wide open shot? So if we're wide open, we want to take that. Now, late in the game, situations matter. We may have to slow it down at times, but for 3.5 quarters, pace is our thing. And there's been some games, this week we had a big win at Tabor. We haven't won there since 2012, or it took 3.5 quarters for our pace to break them, but when it broke, it really broke. And you could tell they were just kind of exhausted, and that, was a big deal. So pace has been our big thing. And then second thing is the platoon system of having 13 players. I think that's all recruiting. I mean, quite frankly, we're playing 13 players because we have that many girls who have shown me they need to play, and they are too good to sit on the bench. Now, what you have to have if you're going to play that many players is a great locker room and great chemistry and your great culture, and they love each other to death. We had somebody last night who had 30 points in 18 minutes. Could she have scored, 50 in 30 minutes? Sure. But everybody's playing similar minutes, and they all love each other, and they know when they get to go in, they have fresh legs. And so I think that's probably the third thing is just the chemistry and them all supporting each other and knowing that's the game plan is we're just going to outpace you with our, style of play, and then, 2, just having fresh legs.
when I was at Georgetown, I was there 18 years, but between the years, I would say 1980 to 96 or 97, we played a very up-tempo, Paul Westhead, the system as it was called, offense at the time. And Providence did the same thing. And Providence and us would play games in the 100s regularly during that period of time. But we ended up getting out of that system, and there are a lot of reasons for that. I think that one, we probably were not as deep as we wanted to be. Secondly, we were not as good as shooters as we wanted to be. And thirdly, what happens at a higher level, Hunter, and then you can comment on this, is that if you're pressing all the time, the bigger and the better the ball handlers are, they just break your press. They just break it, and they're just going to score at will. Now, the only team that I know of in Division I women's basketball that's playing your way is Tennessee women. Do you follow them at all?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, no, she's playing that way, and she's played that way at, her last 3 stops, and I think that's a big reason why she got at Tennessee. And yeah, I agree with you about the higher levels, and I think that's why you don't see a lot of pressing and a lot of the fast pace at the higher levels, and even at the professional level. Now, there is a trend this year in the NBA that more teams are pressing than they have in probably the last 10 years, and we'll see if that catches on. But yeah, I definitely follow her, and she's been successful there. But I agree with you. I think at our level, there are typically 2, 3, 4 really good players on every team, and so we can manipulate rosters and try to press the players that can't handle it, and you necessarily can't do that at higher levels. And so it's something that we can take advantage of here.
So you play 13 players. Give me your defensive philosophy. Is it always full court pressure?
We're more of a 3/4 court press team. We kind of let you get it in and then see where you want to go and kind of rotate out of that. In the half court, we switch everything. I mean, if you look at our roster, we don't have a true post player. Our post players are basically big guards. And I think really that's the key to us being successful on the defensive side of the ball is we want to switch. When you set a screen, you're trying to create an advantage, and we want to take that advantage away by just switching somebody onto you and staying in front of you. And so, that's a trend at the higher levels that you see trickle down from the NBA, the W, into college, and then something that we do. But you've got to recruit that way. My first year as an assistant, we had 6'4" All-American post player, unbelievable. She couldn't switch onto a ball screen. You're just asking for it there. So, now being in year 3, we've really kind of laid the foundation with our recruiting and be able to get the girls into how we want to play. And so having the kids that can do that is a big deal for us. And, the scoring's great. Our first 2 years, we're top 5 in school history in points scored. But, I don't have 2 Big East titles or Big East Coach of the Year like you do, and that's the goal. And so we've really spent more time focusing on defense this year. And, we had 50 points at halftime last night, and we didn't speak a word about offense at halftime. It's been more defensive focused because, Wednesday night we're at Tabor in Hillsborough, Kansas, where we haven't won since 2012. And it was a 60-something point game, and it was a defensive game, and that's what we've had to figure out. And I think that's really been the biggest adjustments with our team this year.
Now, I know that Grinnell College in Iowa plays this multiple substitution, pressure, fast-paced game. How much have you studied them?
Yeah, a good bit. That's the true, quote-unquote, the system, right? And so have studied them a lot. We're definitely not in the same realm of those guys. I mean, what they're doing, scoring 130, 140 points, and, shooting 73s a game is insane. But definitely have studied them. A lot of my coaching kind of friend group, we always talk about them, and you take things that come from them. But, the basis of our identity is the same as theirs, though. It's score quick, take wide open shots. Can you get a dunk? Can you get a 3? And nothing else in between.
We were talking about, John and I, on several occasions, how exciting the team is, and how excited are your girls to play this way?
Oh, they love it. They love it. They're very excited. I actually think they appreciate all the subbing that we do because we do play so fast and so physical. I think they get tired, and they appreciate a quick little Gatorade break. But no, they're very exciting, and so for us with our pace of play, it's fun to watch. I don't care if you're a mom, you're a recruit, you're an administrator, you're John in the stands. So when they're sitting on the bench, it's fun to watch because it's quick, and we're banging threes, and we're getting dunks, and we're taking charges, and we dive on every loose ball that there is. And we watch bench film every day of them dancing and celebrating each other. Our goal every game is to get a warning from the referees from celebrating too much, and I can gladly say that usually happens. And so it's just as fun for them to be a part of this system, and when they are subbed out on the bench, to watch it and encourage their teammates.
Coach Bondurant, Coach Knapp was legendary in his youth for being very demonstrative and passionate along the bench. Isn't that correct, Coach Knapp?
Yeah, you don't want to get the amount of tease that I got, particularly in the early days.
Yeah, give us that one little stat. Give us that one stat you gave us, public record on the air a while back. Was it your first year at Georgetown? There were some teas that were dialed up.
No, it was my first year at New Mexico State. I got thrown out of 4 games, so you don't want to do it. You had to get 2 tees a game, and the third one was you're gone. And then they reduced that later on in the my life as a coach. But
okay. Well, we need to call that the Coach Knapp rule. Yeah. Well, we have that in common. I've have known to get a lot of texts. I haven't got one yet this year, and it's funny. All of our recruits are like, "Coach, you haven't got a tech yet. Like, we're ready for you to get a tech." So maybe me not getting techs is a good thing, but I understand the ejection thing. Funny story for you. My first game as a head high school coach, we're in Bethlehem, Florida. We're up 12 in the fourth quarter, and I think life is made, and this is an easy job. And then somehow we're losing in the last minute, and I get ejected, and I'm thinking, man, I'm going to get fired. And so I've been there. It's not a fun feeling, but definitely passionate. So I understand that side of it as well.
I won't get deeply into it, but I grew up coaching in the Philadelphia Catholic League high school basketball, the boys, back in the 70s, and we had some of the best coaches in the country. And they were loud and boisterous, let me put it that way. And so that's where I learned. And then when I get to the Big East on the women's side, you have John Thompson with the men, Rick Pitino, Boeheim, Louis Cornasecca, Rolly Massimino. Everybody was a big mouth. So they let you get away with that stuff. Probably my 10th year in the league, the commissioner and the leader of our officials, supervisor of our officials, put the hammer down on us, and it got a lot more difficult. But anyway, you talked about your 2 best players not shooting well. I'm going to guess it's McKinley Kruger and Dominique Shutt or Shoot.
Shooty.
Whose
Shooty
three-pointers are Shooty. Their 3-pointers are not dropping. What are you doing to get them out of and I'm sure they'll be just fine. What are you doing to get them out of their slump, so to speak?
Judy kind of did that yesterday, Coach.
Yeah, she got going last night. She was 7-11. 7 threes is 5th all time in school history. She holds the record for most threes in a game, and she only played 18 minutes, so maybe that was bad coaching. Should have let her shoot a couple more. But right now we're just staying consistent. Dominique, didn't play very well the first couple weeks of the season, and she had a night the other night where she was 0 for 7, I think, in the field.
Coach, she did not start yesterday.
Correct. Yeah. And so she was in the gym the next morning at 7:50 in the morning. Those two get extra workouts 2 days a week. Friday morning, we're in the gym with both of them at 9 a.m. So really just trying to be, instill some belief in them and some confidence in them. And I tell them every day they're the best shooters in Kansas at any level, and I wholeheartedly believe that because they can both shoot the heck out of it. And they're in a little rut right now. I've sent them both clips about Steph Curry being in shooting slumps and Caitlin Clark being in shooting slumps, and it's normal. And I think you got to address it. You got to say there's a problem, and we got to talk about it, and then we got to move on and do what we do every day and be confident and know that we'll come back. And last night for Dominique definitely came back, and when she's rolling and McKinley Kruger's rolling, I think we're a tough team and tough to beat.
Now let's finish with in your locker room. everybody likes to talk about team culture. Now, when you're playing 13 players, there's a lot of happy people. I told my team at the beginning of the year, and we probably had 12 or 13 scholarship players every year in the Big East. I told them every year that I'm going to play the best 8 or 9. I can't guarantee you're going to play beyond that. I'm an 8 or 9 rotation guy. And obviously your team culture needs to keep you together, and you have to impress upon players 10, 11, 12 what their roles are and what their future is, because they can develop and be in the top 8 or 9 the very next year. So when we talk about culture, what are the key elements that you preach to your team?
Yeah, I mean, well, like you said, everybody has a role, and our big thing is everybody stay ready. We're very fortunate to have some girls in our program. You look at senior T.T. Rollins, who's averaging double digits right now, who as a freshman and sophomore never checked into a game, and then as a junior started 7, 8, 9 games. And we literally in preseason meetings pulled up her career stats and said, hey, whose stats are these? Okay, this is your teammate, T.T. Rollins, who as a freshman, as a sophomore didn't play. Now as a senior, I mean, she was our leading scorer, 10 days ago at Baker. We beat them by 30. And so, for the couple of kids that maybe aren't getting the minutes that they would like, it's, hey, this is long-term planning. And we live in a world that doesn't want to think long-term. We live in a world that's, so transfer. But we're very lucky that we have a handful on our team who have stayed. Our 3 seniors have been with me for 4 years, either as an assistant or as a head coach. And so they've seen, hey, if you stay and stay ready and be locked in, your time will come. And then I think a big thing with us is we just stress that their value isn't minutes, their value isn't their points scored, their value is as a human being. And we try to make them feel special and loved on and taken care of off the court. We bring ice cream trucks to practice. We did a cooking class last week in Lawrence, and just do a lot of stuff with them to say, hey, like, this is bigger than basketball. And I think they all believe that, and they buy into that, and they know that that's real. And so, even if maybe they're a little disgruntled and they don't say anything about it, I think overall they know that we're all in this together. And like we tell them every day, everybody gets a ring, everybody gets a piece of the net. It doesn't matter who's who. And they all buy into that and believe in that, and it's something that's real and very important to me.
When John and I talk about Bill Self and Jerome Tang, we're like, say, whoa, hold on, Hunter Bondurant, put him in the conversation.
Exactly.
But listen, Coach, I got a question for you. It's coming up on Thanksgiving. Besides a turkey, what's your favorite Thanksgiving side that you love to have at that meal?
I think mashed potatoes and gravy are up there. That's a go-to. But I love sweet potato casserole. Anything sweet potato. So sweet potato casserole, sweet potato pie, anything sweet potato. I think sweet potatoes are healthy for you. I don't believe it because it's like eating sugar. But anything sweet potato would probably get the number one spot for me as a side item.
We do the sweet potato thing too, but ours has marshmallows in them.
Yeah, there you go.
Little marshmallows in them.
Yeah.
So it makes them too sweet.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Too sweet.
Yeah, definitely.
John, go ahead. It's all yours.
I've enjoyed this colloquy between 2 legendary and soon-to-be legendary coaches. And catch Pat Knapp's podcast with Jerry Busson on Play-by-Play. You can find it everywhere, including on the KOFO.com website, as well as Coach Knapp doing games for ESPN for New Mexico State, as well as just the great posts that he puts on, and of course his famous voice that has carried him to all through the Midwest, Nebraska, Iowa, competing against those Quincy, Illinois radio stations. And Coach has won so many awards for best sportscast here in the Midwest Awards ceremonies. Not bad for a guy from Philly who's currently in the desert. And Coach Bondurant, I'm going to tell our people, come out to Wilson. If you still want to listen to our play-by-play, you can have the headset on, but get to that Wilson Fieldhouse. It's exciting, it's fun, and that crowd gets jazzed. It's quite the echo chamber. It's loud and proud in there.
It's loud. I can say, being at Auburn, Auburn Arena, if you watch it on TV, they talk about how loud it is. Wilson Fieldhouse is every bit as loud and as fun as any of those big arenas that you'll find. And It's something special that you got to be in the building for. We hand out juice boxes. Come get one and join us.
Well, listen, this has been a dream come true today to have Knapp and Bondurant here. Guys, tune in for the rest of our Sunday night lineup and follow Braves action wherever you are and get their sports app as well as every game here on KOFO. For Sean Torres, and thanking Jim and Cindy Jandron, our sponsors both at liferunners.org and Midwest Renewable Fuels Energy LLC. Here at KOFO, thank all of our listeners on 1220 1037. Be safe, be smart, be good, be strong. Catch that podcast. It's Thanksgiving coming up. Thank Jesus Christ and love Jesus Christ. And God bless us, everyone. Till we meet again. Bye-bye.